Mechanic hears mewing in car engine, finds pregnant cat and saves her just in time. Tyler Mitchell was finishing up another exhausting day at the shop when he heard a strange sound coming from the engine of the silver Civic that had just arrived. It wasn't the usual noise of faulty parts he'd grown familiar with over 15 years as a mechanic. It was a faint, almost imperceptible meow, but desperate. The 28-year-old stopped what he was doing and approached the vehicle with a furrowed brow. The woman who had brought the car in had only mentioned the engine making odd noises but said nothing about an animal. Tyler slowly lifted the hood, dreading what he might find. There she was, a light grey cat, her big yellow eyes locked onto him, huddled between the engine components. What struck him most was the size of her belly. She was clearly pregnant and seemed to be in labor. "Good heavens," Tyler whispered, carefully reaching toward the feline. "How'd you end up in there, little one?" The cat let out another meow, louder this time, as if pleading for help. Tyler noticed she was trembling, not just from fear, but pain. The contractions were visible in her small, round belly. "Easy, easy," he murmured, trying to calm both the animal and himself. "I'll get you out of there." But when he reached for her, the cat shrank further into the engine compartment, meowing more urgently. Tyler realized she was terrified, and any sudden move could hurt her or the kittens about to be born. Just then, he heard footsteps approaching. It was Mrs. Jenkins, the car's owner, a 65-year-old woman from the neighborhood. "Did you figure out the problem, Tyler?" she asked, walking closer. "Mrs. Jenkins, you won't believe what I found in here," he said, not taking his eyes off the cat. "There's a pregnant cat in your engine, and she's about to give birth." The woman stepped forward and gasped at the sight. "Good. Lord, how did this poor thing end up in there?" she exclaimed, clutching her chest. "Probably looking for a warm place to hide," Tyler explained. "Cats do that, especially when they're about to have kittens. The heat from the engine must have drawn her in." Mrs. Jenkins studied the situation for a few seconds, clearly worried. "So now what? What do we do?" she asked. Tyler scratched his head, thinking. He didn't know much about animals, especially cats in labor. His expertise was in engines and car parts, not living creatures in emergencies. "I think we need to call a vet," he suggested. "At this time of night?" Mrs. Jenkins questioned, glancing at the shop's wall clock. "It's almost 8. The clinics must be closed." Tyler's chest tightened. The cat let out another meow, weaker this time, and he realized she was growing more exhausted. They couldn't wait until morning. "Dr. Williams' clinic is on Blossom Street," he remembered. "Sometimes he takes emergencies, but I don't know if he'll be there." "Let's try," Mrs. Jenkins decided. "But first, we need to get this little one out." Tyler agreed, though he knew it would be tricky. The cat was wedged in a tight spot, surrounded by hot components and metal parts. One wrong move could seriously hurt her. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, back to the story. With extreme care, Tyler began disassembling some parts to get better access to the cat. As he worked, he spoke softly to her, trying to soothe her. "Just hold on, little one. I'll get you out of there," he murmured, slowly and carefully removing screws and components. Mrs. Jenkins stood nearby, watching everything with concern. She had always loved animals, but had never faced a situation like this. After 20 minutes of careful work, Tyler managed to create enough space to reach the cat, but when he stretched out his hands again, she shrank back even further. "She's terrified," Mrs. Jenkins observed. "Maybe if I try." The older woman stepped closer and began making soft sounds as if calling a house cat. To Tyler's surprise, the cat reacted, turning her head toward Mrs. Jenkins. "Come here, sweet kitty," she called in a gentle voice. "No one's going to hurt you." Slowly, the cat began moving toward Mrs. Jenkins' voice. Tyler seized the moment and, with extreme care, managed to hold the animal by her sides, avoiding pressure on her belly. "Got her," he murmured, lifting the cat slowly. As soon as he pulled her from the engine compartment, Tyler realized her condition was even worse than he'd thought. The cat was panting, and her hind legs were wet. Labor had begun. "Quick, we Need to get her to the vet now, he said, sensing the urgency. Mrs. Jenkins grabbed an old towel from a corner of the garage and handed it to Tyler. Wrap her in this, she suggested. Tyler carefully bundled the cat in the towel, feeling her tremble in his arms. Her meows were constant now, but weaker, as if she were losing strength. My car's right outside, Mrs. Jenkins said, pointing to a blue Corolla parked in front of the garage. Let's take it. The two hurried to the vehicle. Tyler climbed into the passenger seat, holding the cat carefully, while Mrs. Jenkins took the wheel. Is the clinic far? Tyler asked, looking at the animal in his arms. About 15 minutes, she replied, starting the engine. Let's hope the doctor's there. During the drive, Tyler watched the cat closely. She had stopped meowing and her eyes looked glassy. He didn't know much about animals, but he could tell things were turning serious. She's not doing well, he murmured to Mrs. Jenkins. Hold on, sweetie, the older woman said, driving faster than usual. We're almost there. When they finally reached the veterinary clinic, they found the lights on and the door unlocked. Mrs. Jenkins sighed in relief. Thank goodness the doctor's here, she said. The two hurried inside. Dr. Williams, a middle-aged man with graying hair, was organizing some medications when he saw them enter. Mrs. Jenkins? What happened? He asked, noticing the urgency on their faces. Doctor, we found this little cat. Inside my car's engine, she quickly explained. She's pregnant and it looks like she's giving birth right now. Dr. Williams immediately stepped closer and looked at the animal in Tyler's arms. Bring her to the surgery room, he instructed, heading toward a door at the back of the clinic. Quickly. Tyler followed the vet into a room with medical equipment. The doctor prepared a table with a clean blanket and asked Tyler to place the cat there. How did you find her? Dr. Williams asked as he began examining the animal. Tyler explained the whole situation while the vet checked the cat's vital signs. The doctor's expression grew more serious by the second. She's been in labor for too long, he diagnosed, and she's dehydrated. I'll need to intervene to save both her and the kittens. What does that mean? Mrs. Jenkins asked, worried. It means I'll have to perform an emergency C-section, Dr. Williams explained. Without this, she might not survive, and neither will the kittens. Tyler felt his heart race. He hadn't expected a simple discovery in the garage to turn into a life or death, or such a serious emergency. Doctor, do whatever is necessary, said Mrs. Jenkins without hesitation. I'll need your help, Dr. Williams informed them. My assistant isn't here today. Tyler, can you assist me? Tyler looked at the vet uncertainly. He was used to working with machines, not living animals in an emergency. I don't know anything about this, doctor, he admitted. You don't need to know much, Dr. Williams reassured him. I just need you to hold a few things and help me with the instruments. Mrs. Jenkins can assist with the kittens when they're born. Tyler took a deep breath and agreed. He couldn't abandon the little cat now, not after pulling her from the engine and bringing her here. Dr. Williams began preparing the instruments while explaining the procedure. The cat was sedated, but her breathing was weak. The vet worked quickly and precisely, and within minutes he made the first incision. There's the first one, he announced, lifting a small, wet kitten. The tiny cat wasn't moving. Dr. Williams handed it to Mrs. Jenkins and immediately returned to work. Rub him with this towel, the vet instructed. Gently but firmly. We need to stimulate his breathing. Mrs. Jenkins followed the directions, rubbing the little animal with delicate motions. After a few agonizing seconds, the kitten let out a faint but audible mewl. He's alive, she exclaimed, emotional. Good, said Dr. Williams, already working to deliver the second kitten. Keep him warm. The second kitten was born in better condition, meowing as soon as it was out. Mrs. Jenkins wrapped it in another towel, keeping the two little ones together so they could warm each other. There's one more, Dr. Williams said, focused on the procedure. The third kitten was the hardest to deliver. Dr. Williams worked with even more care, and when he finally brought it into the world, the kitten was completely still. This one is in critical condition, the vet said, taking the tiny kitten and beginning resuscitation efforts. Tyler watched with his heart in his throat. He'd become emotionally invested in this feline family in a way he hadn't expected. Seeing the third kitten fighting for life affected him deeply. Dr. Williams worked for several minutes, trying to revive the little animal. He performed chest compressions, cleared the airways, and used a small oxygen mask. Tyler and Mrs. Jenkins watched silently, praying the vet could save the kitten. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the third kitten let out a weak mewl. Dr. Williams smiled in relief. "We did it," he said, handing the kitten to Mrs. Jenkins. "All three are alive." A wave of relief washed over Tyler. He'd helped, saved 4 lives that night, and it gave him a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in a long time. "What about the mother?" Mrs. Jenkins asked, looking at the cat on the table. "She'll be fine," Dr. Williams reassured her, closing the incision. "It was a complicated surgery, but she's strong. In a few hours, she'll wake up and can care for her kittens." The vet finished the procedure and moved the cat to a heated cage. The 3 kittens were placed beside her, even though she was still sedated. "Now we just wait for her to wake up," Dr. Williams said. "But you did the right thing bringing her here. Another hour, and it would have been too late." Tyler looked at the little animals in the cage and felt a mix of emotions. He was happy to have saved them, but at the same time worried about what would happen next. "Doctor, what's the procedure now?" he asked. "What do we do with them?" Dr. Williams wiped his hands and turned to the 2 of them. "Well, ideally, someone needs to take care of them for the next 2 months at least. The mother will need a safe and quiet environment to nurse the kittens." Tyler and Mrs. Jenkins exchanged glances. Neither of them had considered this practical aspect of the situation. "I'd love to help," said Mrs. Jenkins, a note of regret in her voice. "But I live in a small apartment, and my husband is allergic to animal fur." Tyler felt a weight in his chest. He lived alone in a small house behind the workshop. In theory, he had space for the cats, but he'd never cared for animals in his life. "What about you, Tyler?" asked Dr. Williams. "Can you take care of them?" I've never had pets," he admitted. "I don't even know where to start." "It's not as complicated as it seems," the vet encouraged. "I can guide you through everything you need to know. Food, basic care, when to bring them in for checkups." Tyler looked again at the feline family in the cage. The kittens were quiet, snuggled together, and the mother was starting to show signs of waking up. "How much would all this cost?" he asked, worried about finances. Dr. Williams noticed Tyler's hesitation and decided to be upfront about the expenses. "Today's surgery, considering it was an emergency, would be around $300, he explained. "Then there's the special food for the nursing mother, vaccines for the kittens when they're a bit older, spaying to prevent more litters. In total, over the next 3 months, you'd spend about $500. Tyler swallowed hard. He earned just over $1,000 a month at the workshop, and $400 was a significant amount for his tight budget. Besides, he was saving up to buy his own tools and open his own shop. "That's a lot of money," he murmured, more to himself than to the others. Mrs. Jenkins sensed Tyler's dilemma and stepped closer. "Tyler, you don't need to worry about the costs," she said, touching the young man's arm. "I'll cover all the expenses. After all, they were found in my car." "No, Mrs. Jenkins," Tyler refused immediately. "You've already done enough by bringing us here." "But I insist," she said firmly. "You saved these creatures. It's the least I can do." Tyler fell silent for a few moments, watching the cats. He felt a strange connection to this feline family, especially after everything they'd been through together that night. "All right," he finally decided. "I'll take care of them. But I won't accept your money, Mrs. Jenkins. I'll figure out how to cover the expenses." The older woman smiled, pleased with Tyler's decision. "Then it's settled," said Dr. Williams. "I'll prepare a basic kit for you to take home today. Food, some medications, and detailed instructions on how to care for them." As the vet gathered the supplies, Tyler watched the mother cat slowly waking up. She lifted her head and looked around, clearly confused. When she saw the kittens beside her, her maternal instincts kicked in immediately. "Look at that," whispered Mrs. Jenkins. "She's already taking care of them." The cat began licking the kittens, checking if they were all right. The little animals instinctively moved closer to their mother, seeking warmth and food. "It's beautiful to see," Tyler remarked, genuinely moved by the scene. Dr. Williams returned with a carrier and several bags of supplies. "Here's everything you'll need for the next few days," he said, handing the items to Tyler. "Cat food for a nursing mother, special food for the kittens when they start eating solids, vitamins, and some basic medications. The vet also gave me a sheet with detailed instructions on care, feeding times, and warning signs for potential health issues. One important tip," added Dr. Williams, "in the first few days, observe everything. If any of the kittens aren't nursing properly, if the mother seems overly agitated or aggressive, or if you notice anything out of the ordinary, call me immediately." Tyler carefully tucked the paper into his pocket and picked up the carrier. "How do I get them inside?" he asked uncertainly. "Very carefully," instructed the vet. "The mother first, then the kittens. She's still a little sedated, so it'll be easier," Dr. Williams demonstrated, placing the cat inside the carrier first, then the 3 kittens beside her. The tiny animals immediately snuggled up to their mother. "There," he said, closing the carrier. "Now just take them home and let nature do the rest." Tyler picked up the carrier gently, feeling the weight of the responsibility he'd taken on. Mrs. Jenkins offered to drive him back to the shop, and the two said goodbye to the vet. "Dr. Williams, thank you for everything," said Tyler. "You saved their lives." "We saved them," the vet corrected. "If you hadn't brought her here, I couldn't have done anything. Come back next week for a follow-up." On the way back to the shop, Tyler stayed quiet, holding the carrier with the cats in his lap. He could hear little noises from inside, which reassured him. "You did the right thing, Tyler," said Mrs. Jenkins. "These little ones will have a good life with you." "I hope so," he murmured. "But honestly, I'm a little nervous. I've never taken care of animals before." "You'll learn," she encouraged. "And if you need anything, you can count on me." "I'll stop by the shop in the next few days to check on them." When they arrived at the shop, it was almost 10 at night. Tyler gathered his things and said goodbye to Mrs. Jenkins, thanking her again for all her help. "See you tomorrow, Tyler," she said, "and good luck with your new tenants." Tyler walked to his small house behind the shop, carrying the cat carrier and the bags of supplies. His home was simple: 2 small bedrooms, a living room, a basic kitchen, and a bathroom. He'd inherited the property from his grandfather, who had also been a mechanic. As soon as he stepped inside, Tyler set the carrier on the living room floor and carefully opened it. The cat looked at him with alert eyes but showed no aggression. The kittens stayed quiet, nestled against their mother. "Welcome to your new home," he said softly. Tyler prepared a corner in the living room, with old blankets, making a cozy nest for the feline family. He also set out a dish of water and another with food, following the vet's instructions. When he carefully moved the cat and kittens to their new spot, he noticed she accepted the change without resistance. She seemed to understand she was somewhere safe. "Now you all need names," Tyler murmured, watching the little family. He decided to name the mother Luna because of her yellow eyes that shone like the moon. The kittens he named Sun, Star, and Comet, keeping the celestial theme. That first night, Tyler slept on the living room couch to stay close in case the cats needed anything. Several times during the night, he woke to little noises and got up to check if everything was okay. Luna was being an exemplary mother, nursing the kittens and keeping them clean and warm. Tyler felt relieved seeing everything was going well. The next day, when he arrived at the shop, Tyler could hardly focus on his work. His mind was preoccupied with the cats at home, wondering if they were okay, if Luna was eating properly, if the kittens were growing as they should. During lunch, he rushed home to check on them. He found them all sleeping peacefully in the little corner he had prepared. Luna opened her eyes when she saw him arrive but didn't move, keeping the kittens warm. "Everything okay here?" he asked softly, placing fresh kibble in the bowl. As if understanding the question, Luna stood up, stretched, and went to the food bowl. While she ate, Tyler watched the kittens. They had visibly grown since the night before, and their little bellies were round, a sign they were nursing well. On the afternoon of the second day, Mrs. Jenkins showed up at the shop, as promised. "How are our little rescues doing?" she asked curiously. "They're doing well," Tyler replied, smiling. "Luna is an amazing mother, and the kittens are growing fast." "Can I see them?" the woman asked. Tyler took Mrs. Jenkins to his house. She was delighted to see the little feline family settled in the corner of the living room. "How precious," she whispered, watching the kittens nurse. "They're beautiful and healthy." "It's amazing how much they've changed in just 2 days," Tyler remarked. "They're already stronger and bigger." Mrs. Jenkins noticed some improvements Tyler had made to their space. He had bought a litter box for Luna, some simple toys, and even a more comfortable bed. "You're doing a wonderful job," she praised. "I can see you're taking this seriously." "To be honest, Mrs. Jenkins, I'm enjoying it more than I expected," Tyler admitted. "It's unlike anything I've ever done before." In the following days, Tyler established a routine with the cats. He woke up early, checked that everything was all right, left fresh kibble for Luna, and went to work. At lunchtime, he rushed home for another check-in, and in the evening, he dedicated time to observing and interacting with the little family. Luna had grown more trusting of Tyler. She no longer ran away when he approached, and sometimes even rubbed against his legs, showing gratitude and affection. The kittens were also developing quickly. Their eyes began opening in the second week, and they started exploring the area around their nest. Tyler was fascinated watching their daily discoveries. "You're growing up way too fast," he remarked, sitting on the floor and watching Son take his first hesitant steps. Star was the most curious of the three, always the first to explore new corners of the room, try the solid food Tyler had started, offering and play with the little toys he had bought. Comet was the smallest and most cautious. He preferred staying close to his mother and was the last to venture into new activities. Tyler had a soft spot for him, perhaps because he identified with his more reserved nature. Son was somewhere in between, not as adventurous as Star nor as shy as Comet. He was balanced and seemed to mediate between his siblings when playtime got too rowdy. 3 weeks after the rescue, Dr. Williams called Tyler to schedule a follow-up appointment. "How are our patients doing?" the vet asked. "Really well," Tyler replied enthusiastically. "The kittens are growing quickly, and Luna is being a perfect mother." "Great. How about bringing them all in tomorrow afternoon? I need to check the kittens' weight and see how Luna's healing is coming along." Tyler agreed, and the next day, he prepared for the cat's first trip outside the house. He had bought a larger carrier to fit the whole family. The appointment went well. Dr. Williams was pleased with the puppy's development and Luna's recovery. "You're doing an excellent job, Tyler," praised the veterinarian. "They're healthy and happy." "Doctor, I wanted to ask you something," said Tyler hesitantly. "When they're older, should I look for homes for the puppies?" Dr. Williams looked at him curiously. "Don't you want to keep them?" "I'd love to," admitted Tyler, "but I don't know if I can afford to care for 4 cats, and I'm not sure it's what's best for them." "Well, we still have time to think about it," said the vet. "The puppies shouldn't be separated from their mother until they're at least 2 months old. You've got another month to decide." Tyler returned home deep in thought. The idea of parting with the cats bothered him more than he expected. Over the last few weeks, they had become part of his daily routine, and he couldn't imagine the house being empty again. That night, as he watched Luna playing with the puppies, Tyler made a decision that would change his life forever. "I won't let you go," he said aloud, as if the cats could understand. "We'll find a way to stay together." But Tyler had no idea of the challenges ahead. The next day, he received news that would shake all his plans. His boss, Mr. Harrison, the owner of the garage where he'd worked for 5 years, had decided to sell the business. An entrepreneur from another town had made an offer too good to refuse, and Mr. Harrison wanted to retire. "Tyler, you're a good worker," said Mr. Harrison, breaking the news. "But the new owner is bringing his own team. I have to let you go at the end of the month." Tyler felt the ground drop beneath him. Without the job, how would he care for the cats? How would he pay his basic bills? His savings were minimal, enough for just 2 months without a paycheck. "Mr. Harrison, isn't there any way you could talk to the buyer?" Tyler pleaded desperately. "I know the customers well. I know how everything works here." "I already tried, son," the man replied regretfully. But he wouldn't budge. He wants to start fresh with people he trusts. Tyler went home that night completely crushed. The cats greeted him with their usual welcoming meows, but he barely had the energy to interact with them. Sitting on the living room floor, watching Luna tend to the puppies, he questioned whether he'd made the right decision in taking responsibility for the animals. "Maybe I should have thought this through before committing to you," he murmured, running a hand through his hair. But when Star approached him and began playing with his shoelace, Tyler felt a wave of affection that momentarily eased his worries. "I can't give up on you now," he said, scooping the kitten into his arms. "We'll find a way to get through this together." In the days that followed, Tyler desperately searched for a new job. He visited every garage in the area, dropped off resumes and talked to people he knew in the business. But the market was tough, and most places already had their regular mechanics. Meanwhile, the expenses for the cats kept piling up: food, litter, toys, and the approaching date for the puppies' first vaccinations. Tyler did the math and watched his money dwindling fast. One night, after another frustrating day of job hunting, Tyler found Luna sleeping with the puppies, and an idea began forming in his mind. What if he opened his own garage? It had always been his dream, even if for the distant future. Maybe this situation was the push he needed to take the leap. Tyler stayed up all night crunching numbers. He had some savings, knew the business, had experience, and a good reputation among Mr. Harrison's customers. Maybe he could convince some to keep bringing their cars to him. The next morning, still full of hope, Tyler called some old clients to test the waters. The response was encouraging. Mrs. Jenkins was the first to assure him she'd bring her car to him, no matter where he worked. "Tyler, you're the best mechanic I know," she said. "If you open your shop, you can count on me as your first customer." Other clients showed similar interest. Tyler began to believe he might actually make this work. But when he went to the bank to check about a loan, reality brought him back down to earth. Without enough collateral and with the unstable income of a freelance mechanic, the bank denied him credit. "Mr. Mitchell, without a co-signer or real collateral, we can't approve the loan," the manager explained. Tyler left the bank disheartened. His savings weren't enough to rent a place, buy equipment, and keep the business running in the first few months. That night, he sat with Luna in his lap and talked to her like an old friend. "I don't know what else to do, Luna," he confessed. "I really want to stay with you all, but maybe it's not possible." As if understanding his anguish, Luna purred loudly and snuggled closer. The kittens, now almost 6 weeks old, came over and began playing with Tyler's fingers. The scene moved him deeply. These little animals trusted him completely, and he couldn't let them down. "All right," he decided with renewed determination. "I'll find a solution. I always do." The next day, Tyler had a different idea. Instead of opening a traditional shop, what if he offered mobile services? He could visit clients at their homes or workplaces, handling minor repairs and basic maintenance. The initial investment would be much smaller. He'd only need a set of portable tools and transportation. His motorcycle could carry the basics for now. Tyler put together a simple business plan and started spreading the word among his contacts. The response was better than expected. Many people liked the convenience of a mechanic who came to them. "That's a brilliant idea, Tyler," Mrs. Jenkins said when he explained the concept. "I'd love not having to leave home to deal with car troubles." With support from his first clients and a small loan from a family friend, Tyler began investing in portable tools and basic equipment for home service. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot, as we're just starting out. Now, back to the story. Meanwhile, Luna's kittens kept growing and thriving. At 6 weeks old, they were already tiny versions of adult cats, playful and curious. Star had become the leader of the group, always the first to investigate anything new in the house. Sun was the most affectionate, always seeking Tyler's lap for afternoon naps. Comet remained the shyest, but had developed a special love for plush toys. "You're getting so big," Tyler remarked, watching them play. "Soon you'll be ready to explore the backyard." Luna had fully recovered from her surgery and was in great shape. She'd formed a strong bond with Tyler, following him around the house and sleeping at the foot of his bed every night. Tyler's business began to slowly take off. In the early days, he landed some simple jobs: oil changes, battery checks, minor repairs. The money was tight, but enough to cover basic expenses. A week after starting his home-based business, Tyler received an unexpected call. It was from a transportation company that needed regular maintenance for a fleet of 10 vehicles. "We heard you offer on-site service," said the manager. "We're interested in hiring you monthly." Tyler couldn't believe the opportunity. Their steady contract with a company was exactly what he needed to stabilize his income. "Of course, I can come by to go over the details," he replied, trying to keep the excitement out of his voice. On the day of the meeting, Tyler prepared carefully. He brought samples of his work, references from past clients, and a competitive pricing proposal. The meeting went better than he'd hoped. The manager was impressed with Tyler's experience and the convenience of the home service. "You're hired," he said at the end of the presentation. "Can we start next Monday?" Tyler left the company practically floating with happiness. Finally, things were falling into place. With the guaranteed income from the monthly contract, he could care for the cats without financial worries. That night, he celebrated with Luna and the kittens, giving them all special treats. "We did it, everyone," he announced, sitting on the living room floor. "Now we can stay together forever." But Tyler's happiness would soon be tested. On his first day at the transportation company, he discovered that the manager who had hired him had been transferred to another city. The new manager, who had arrived over the weekend, had his own preferred vendors. When Tyler showed up to start work, he was told the contract had been cancelled. "Nothing personal," the new manager said coldly. "But we already have a trusted partner for these services." Tyler left the company in a daze. It felt like a punch to the gut. All the hope and planning from the past few days had crumbled in minutes. Back home, he sat on the living room floor, surrounded by the cats, trying to process what had happened. "Maybe it's a sign," he murmured, stroking Luna. "Maybe I'm not ready for this." But Star, always the clever one, seemed to sense Tyler's discouragement. She came over and began purring loudly, rubbing against his legs. "You're right, Star," he said, scooping her up. "I can't give up now." Tyler decided that instead of relying on big contracts, he'd focus on building a solid base of smaller clients. It would be more work, but also more secure. He made simple flyers advertising his services and started handing them out around the neighborhood. He also used social media to spread the word, asking friends and acquaintances to share. Slowly, clients began to appear. A neighbor who needed maintenance for his wife's car. A small business that wanted someone to look after their employees' vehicles. An elderly woman who couldn't leave home to take her car to the shop. Each job was a small victory. Tyler poured his heart into every client, making sure they were satisfied with his work. His reputation started to grow in the area. Meanwhile, Luna's kittens were nearing 2 months old, the milestone Dr. Williams had set for when they could be separated from their mother if needed. Tyler had firmly decided to keep them all, but Dr. Williams insisted it would be better to find homes for at least 2 of the kittens. "Tyler, 4 cats is a huge responsibility," the vet argued. "Especially given your current financial situation." "Doctor, I understand the concern," Tyler replied, "but they're a family. I can't imagine splitting them up." "Just think about it," Dr. Williams insisted. "If you can find good homes, for 2 of them, you'll be able to take better care of the ones that stay, and you can still visit the ones that get adopted." Tyler knew the vet had a point from a practical standpoint, but emotionally, he couldn't bring himself to accept the idea. Over the last 2 months, he'd grown deeply attached to each of the cats. One evening, as he watched Luna play with the 3 kittens in his backyard, Tyler made a decision that even surprised himself. "I'm going to expand the house," he announced out loud, as if the cats could understand and weigh in. The idea had come to him spontaneously, but the more he thought about it, the more sense it made. He had a large, underused backyard. He could build an addition to the house, creating more space for the cats and for himself. Tyler spent the night sketching out plans and calculating costs. With the money he was making from his home-based business, he could afford a small renovation. The next morning, he called a friend who worked in construction. "Frank, do you think you could help me add an extension to my house?" he asked. "Of course, Tyler. What kind of extension are you thinking?" Frank replied. "An extra room, and maybe A covered outdoor space for the cats, Tyler explained. Frank came over that same day to assess the project's feasibility. After measuring the yard and discussing possibilities, he gave a surprisingly affordable estimate. "Since we're friends and you helped me with my car last year, I can give you a special rate," Frank offered. "And I can even break the payments down as you earn the money." Tyler was touched by his friend's generosity. Once again, the people around him were proving willing to help. "Frank, I don't know how to thank you," he said, shaking his friend's hand. "You helped me when I needed it," Frank replied. "Now it's my turn to return the favor." They agreed construction would start the following month, as soon as Tyler saved up the down payment. Motivated by the renovation plans, Tyler doubled down on his business. He worked longer hours, took weekend jobs, and made sure to exceed every client's expectations. His dedication paid off. Satisfied customers referred Tyler to friends and acquaintances. Soon, he had more work than he could handle alone. That's when an unexpected opportunity came up. Mike, an older mechanic who'd lost his job around the same time as Tyler, approached him with a proposal. "Tyler, I hear you're swamped with work," Mike said. "How about we team up?" "What kind of partnership are you thinking?" Tyler asked, intrigued. "I can help you with the bigger jobs and you give me a cut," Mike explained. "That way we can take on more clients and earn more." Tyler liked the idea. Mike was an experienced, reliable mechanic. Together, they could really grow the business. "Let's give it a try," Tyler decided. "But I need to be clear, my priority is quality, not quantity." "Perfect," Mike agreed. "That's exactly how I work too." The partnership worked from day one. Mike brought his own client base, and Tyler contributed his organization and methods. Within 2 weeks, they quadrupled their workload. With the increased income, Tyler saved up the down payment for the renovation faster than expected. Frank started work on the house extension 3 weeks later. During construction, Tyler kept the cats in the main living area, away from the noise and dust. Luna and the kittens adjusted well to the temporary setup, almost as if they understood something important was happening. "You'll have so much more space soon," Tyler promised, watching the cats play in the limited area they had. The renovation took 6 weeks to complete. The result exceeded Tyler's expectations. In addition to the extra bedroom, Frank had built a covered area in the backyard with direct access to the house, creating a perfect space for the cats. "It looks amazing, Frank," said Tyler, admiring his friend's work. "The cats are going to love it." "I hope so," Frank replied with a smile. "And you deserve a bigger space too. You worked hard for this." On the first night in the expanded house, Tyler threw a little party for the cats. He bought special treats, new toys, and even a climbing structure so they could explore vertically. Luna and the kittens, now almost 3 months old, were fascinated by the new space. They spent hours exploring every corner, testing out the new toys, and adjusting to the larger environment. "Now we really have a proper home," Tyler said, sitting on the floor of the new area and watching the cats explore. Star was the first to climb the new structure, once again showing her adventurous nature. Sun preferred to test out the new cushioned bed Tyler had bought. Comet found a cozy little corner where he felt safe and comfortable. Luna wandered around the entire area, checking that everything was safe for her kittens. Her expression seemed full of approval and gratitude. That night, Tyler slept better than he had in months. For the first time since finding the cats in the car engine, he felt he had created a truly suitable home for them. But the next day, a new complication would arise in his life, this time unrelated to the cats or his work, but tied to his past. Tyler received a call from his sister, Rebecca, who had lived in another city for 5 years. They had fallen out over their grandfather's inheritance and hadn't spoken since. "Tyler, I need to talk to you," Rebecca said, her voice serious. "Rebecca?" Tyler barely hid his surprise. "What do you want?" "It's about Grandpa's house," she explained. "The house you're living in." Tyler felt a chill in his stomach. The house had been left to both siblings in the will, but Tyler had always assumed he could live there indefinitely. "What about the house, Yin?" he asked, already guessing where this was going. "I'm in serious financial trouble, Tyler," Rebecca admitted. "I need to sell my share of the house. I already have a buyer interested." Tyler was silent for a few seconds, processing the information. If Rebecca sold her half of the house to a stranger, he'd have to share the property with someone he didn't know. "Rebecca, you can't do this," he said, trying to stay calm. "This is my home. It's where I live and work." "I know, and I'm sorry," she replied. "But I need the money. I'm about to lose my apartment here." "How much do you need?" Tyler asked, already knowing he couldn't afford it. $50,000, Rebecca answered. "That's what the buyer is offering for my half." Tyler nearly dropped the phone. $50,000 was more money than he could save in years, even with his business doing well. "Rebecca, I don't have that kind of money," he said desperately. "And you know that." "Then we'll have to sell the whole house," she decided. "We'll split the money 50-50 and go our separate ways." "No," Tyler exclaimed. "This house is everything I have. It's where I live, where I take care of my cats, where my business is." "Cats?" Rebecca questioned. "What cats?" Tyler realized he'd said too much. Rebecca had always hated pets. I adopted a few cats," he explained hesitantly. "Tyler, you can't be serious," she said disapprovingly. "Cats in Grandpa's house, he'd be rolling in his grave." "The cats have nothing to do with this," Tyler defended. "The problem is, you're trying to take me away from my home." "It's not your home, Tyler," Rebecca corrected coldly. "It's our home, and I need my money." The conversation ended with Rebecca issuing an ultimatum. Either Tyler bought out her share of the house within 3 months, or she would take legal action to force the sale. Tyler hung up the phone, completely devastated. After all the progress he'd made over the past few months, he now faced the possibility of losing his home and having to part with the cats. That night, he sat in the new space he'd built for the cats, trying to think of a solution. Luna sensed his distress and approached, climbing onto his lap and purring softly. "What are we going to do now, Luna?" he murmured, stroking her. "How? Am I supposed to come up with $50,000 in 3 months? The kittens also drew near, as if to comfort him. Star played with the laces of Tyler's sneakers, Sun curled up beside him, and Comet wound around his legs. Their affection moved him deeply. These little creatures had changed his life for the better, and now he risked losing them over circumstances beyond his control. "I won't give up on you," he promised, renewed determination in his voice. "I'll find a way to fix this." In the days that followed, Tyler explored every financial possibility he could think of. He spoke to banks about larger loans, researched home acquisition financing, even considered selling some personal belongings. But the reality was discouraging. Without sufficient collateral and with income from a newly established business, no financial institution was willing to lend such a large sum. Mike, his business partner, noticed Tyler's worry and offered help. "Tyler, you seem troubled by something," he remarked during a job. "Want to talk about it?" Tyler explained the situation with the house and his sister's ultimatum. Mike listened carefully, then grew thoughtful. "Have you thought about looking for investors for the business?" he suggested. "Investors?" Tyler questioned. "I don't follow." "Well, our business is growing fast," Mike explained. "If we could get an investor, we could expand even more, and you'd have the money to settle the house issue." The idea was intriguing, but Tyler had no idea where to start looking for investors. "Who would invest in a mobile mechanic business?" he asked skeptically. "You'd be surprised," Mike replied. "I know a few retired business owners who are always looking for good opportunities. I can introduce you." Tyler agreed, though he held little hope. It seemed unlikely anyone would invest in his small operation. That weekend, Mike arranged an informal gathering at his place, inviting Tyler and 2 retired local entrepreneurs, Mr. Thompson, who'd owned an auto parts business, and Mr. Wilson, former owner of a transport company. "Tyler, Mike told me about your business," Mr. Thompson said after Tyler explained how the mobile service worked. "It's a great idea. I've always thought this area lacked that kind of service." "I agree," Mr. Wilson added. "Convenience is something people really value these days. What's your monthly revenue?" Tyler showed them the numbers from the past 3 months. Both men were impressed by the steady growth. "And what's your expansion plan?" Mr. Thompson asked. Tyler improvised a pitch, talking about hiring more mechanics, upgrading equipment, and even buying a dedicated vehicle to transport tools and parts. "How much investment would you need for this?" asked Mr. Wilson. "Well, to do everything. I mentioned it would take about $80,000, estimated Tyler, slightly inflating the amount to leave room for negotiation. The two businessmen exchanged glances and smiled. "Tyler, how about this?" proposed Mr. Thompson. "We'll each invest $40,000, totaling $80,000. In return, we each take 30% of the business. You and Mike keep 20% each." Tyler could hardly believe what he was hearing. It was exactly the money he needed to buy his sister's share of the house, with enough left over to invest in the business. "Are you serious?" he asked, still incredulous. "Absolutely," confirmed Mr. Wilson. "But we want a detailed contract with revenue targets and a say in major business decisions." Tyler glanced at Mike, who gave a discreet nod of approval. "I accept," said Tyler, extending his hand to greet his new partners. 2 weeks later, with all contracts signed and the money deposited in his account, Tyler called Rebecca. "Rebecca, I have the money to buy your share of the house," he announced, unable to hide the satisfaction in his voice. "You have $50,000? She asked, surprised. "How did you get that much money so fast?" "I secured investors for my business," Tyler explained. "I can transfer the money to your account today." "Tyler, I didn't expect you to get the money," she stammered. "I've already made some commitments based on selling the house." A chill of concern ran through Tyler. "What kind of commitments, Juan?" he asked. "Well, I counted on the sale money and ended up spending some of it," she admitted, embarrassed. "Rebecca, you didn't," said Tyler, disbelieving. "It was only $15,000, she defended. "There's still $35,000 left of my share." Tyler fell silent, trying to process what he'd heard. His sister had spent money she didn't yet have, banking on a sale that wasn't guaranteed. "Rebecca, that's not my problem," he said finally. "You said you needed $50,000 for your share of the house. I have the $50,000. Take it or leave it." "But Tyler, I still need the $15,000 I already spent," she insisted. "Then you shouldn't have spent money you didn't have," Tyler replied firmly. "My offer is the $50,000 you asked for. I won't pay for your financial mistakes." The conversation dragged on for another 20 minutes, with Rebecca trying to convince Tyler to pay more and him standing his ground. Finally, she accepted the $50,000. "Fine," she said resignedly. "I'll take the $50,000. When can we make the official property transfer?" "Next week," Tyler answered. "I'll arrange all the necessary paperwork." A week later, Tyler became the sole owner of the house he'd lived in his entire life. The sense of security it gave him was indescribable. That night, he held a small celebration with the cats, buying special treats for everyone and spending hours playing with them in the expanded space. "Now, guys," he said, sitting on the floor surrounded by the 4 cats, "this is officially our home. No one can take us away from here." Luna seemed to understand the importance of the moment. She walked over to Tyler and curled up in his lap, purring loudly. The 3 kittens settled around them, creating a scene of perfect family harmony. But Tyler's peace would soon be tested again. This time, the problem would come from where he least expected, his new business partners. 2 weeks after becoming the homeowner, Tyler received a call from Mr. Thompson, scheduling an urgent meeting. "Tyler, we need to talk about the direction of the business," said the businessman in a serious tone. "Did something happen?" asked Tyler, concerned. "Let's talk in person," replied Mr. Thompson. "Tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon at Mr. Wilson's office." Tyler spent the whole night imagining what could have gone wrong. The business was doing well, the customers were satisfied, and he and Mike were meeting all the goals set in the contract. At the meeting the next day, Tyler discovered that his partners had very different plans than he had imagined. "Tyler, we've been analyzing the market," began Mr. Wilson, "and we've concluded that we need to expand much faster." "Faster how?" asked Tyler. "We want to hire 10 more mechanics and set up a traditional workshop structure," explained Mr. Thompson. "Home service would just be one of the services offered." Tyler was surprised by the proposal. That wasn't the vision he had for the business. "But our unique selling point is precisely the home service," he argued. "That's what makes us stand out in the market." "Tyler, you're thinking too small," said Mr. Wilson. "With the structure we're proposing, We could multiply revenue tenfold in 2 years. And where would this expanded business be located? Asked Tyler, already suspecting the answer. We were thinking of renting a large warehouse on the main avenue, replied Mr. Thompson. A place with high visibility and easy access. Tyler realized his partners wanted to turn his personal, hands-on business into a traditional company. Exactly the kind of corporate environment he had left behind when he lost his job at Mr. Harrison's workshop. I don't agree with this. Direction? He said firmly. Tyler, you need to understand it's not just your decision anymore, Mr. Wilson reminded him. We're the majority partners in the business. We own 60% of the shares. But the contract specifies that decisions about changes to the nature of the business require unanimity, argued Tyler, recalling the terms he had insisted on including. That's correct, admitted Mr. Thompson. But we expected you to be more cooperative. It's not about cooperation, Tyler explained. It's about vision. I created this business to have freedom and flexibility. I don't want to turn it into just another traditional workshop. The meeting ended in a stalemate. The partners agreed to postpone the decision for 2 weeks, giving Tyler time to reconsider his position. Back at home, Tyler felt pressured and confused. On one hand, he understood his partners wanted a return on their investment. On the other, he didn't want to give up the essence of the business he had built. What would you do in my place? He asked the cats, as if they could give advice. Luna came closer and began playing with a small toy engine Tyler had bought for her. Watching the cat, he had an insight. Luna was happy simply being a cat. She didn't need to be the biggest, the fastest, or the most impressive. She was perfect, just as she was. Maybe that's it, Tyler murmured. Maybe I don't need to be the biggest business in town. Maybe it's better to be the best at what I do. The following week, Tyler did his own market research. He spoke to current customers, potential clients, and even competitors. What he discovered surprised him. The vast majority of customers valued exactly what he offered: personalized service, flexible hours, and the convenience of not having to leave home. Many said they wouldn't trade home service for a traditional workshop, even if it were cheaper. Armed with this information, Tyler returned to his partners with a counter-proposal. Mr. Thompson, Mr. Wilson, I understand you want to see the business grow, he said at the second meeting, but I believe we can grow while keeping our identity. How so? Asked Mr. Wilson. Instead of opening a traditional shop, we could hire more mechanics for home service, explained Tyler. We could expand our service area, offer more specialized services, even work with companies that have vehicle fleets. Tyler presented a detailed plan he had prepared, showing how they could triple their revenue in 2 years, while keeping the focus on home service. But that would be much slower than opening a shop, argued Mr. Thompson. But it would be more sustainable and profitable in the long run, countered Tyler. And it would maintain our market differentiation. The partners fell silent for a few minutes, considering Tyler's proposal. It's an interesting plan, admitted Mr. Wilson, but I still think it limits our growth potential. What if we run a trial? Suggested Tyler. We implement my plan for 6 months. If we don't meet the revenue goals I've set, I'll accept your proposal for a traditional shop. Mr. Thompson and Mr. Wilson exchanged glances and, after a few more minutes of discussion, agreed to the trial. All right, Tyler, said Mr. Thompson. 6 months to prove your approach works. But if it doesn't, we stick to our original plan, added Mr. Wilson. Tyler accepted the terms. He knew he was taking a big risk, but he trusted his vision for the business. In the following months, Tyler worked tirelessly to prove his business model could succeed. He hired 2 new mechanics, invested in more advanced portable equipment, and expanded the service area to 3 neighboring towns. Mike proved to be a key partner during this growth phase, helping train the new employees and organize the expanded operation. Meanwhile, the cats remained a constant source of joy and motivation for Tyler. Luna and the 3 kittens, now almost 6 months old, had become an integral part of his daily routine. You're my inspiration, he told the cats every morning before leaving for work. Everything I do is so we can stay together. Star had become an expert at opening doors and exploring every corner of the expanded house. Sun developed the habit of following Tyler to the garage every morning, as if wanting to say goodbye before he left for work. Comet remained the shyest, but had created a ritual of sleeping in Tyler's bed every night. Luna had taken on the role of the household matriarch, supervising the kitten's activities and greeting Tyler with affectionate meows every time he returned from work. In the 4th month of the trial with the partners, Tyler received an offer that could change everything. A regional chain of gas stations was interested in hiring his services to offer home maintenance to their customers. It would be a 2-year contract with guaranteed revenue of $15,000 a month, explained the chain's manager during the meeting. Tyler could hardly believe the opportunity. It was exactly the kind of partnership he needed to prove to the partners that the home service model could be highly profitable. "How many mechanics would you need to meet this demand?" asked the manager. "Initially 3 or 4 more, Tyler calculated, but we can expand as demand grows." The contract was signed the following week. With the guaranteed income from the gas station chain, Tyler was able to hire more mechanics and invest in even better equipment. By the end of the 6-month trial, the numbers were undeniable. Revenue had more than tripled, profit margins exceeded projections, and customer satisfaction was extremely high. "Tyler, you've made your point," admitted Mr. Thompson at the evaluation meeting. "The home service model really works, and it works very well," added Mr. Wilson. "We're impressed with the results." Tyler felt immense satisfaction. He had managed to preserve the integrity of his business while proving it was possible to grow without losing its essence. "Gus, so can we keep focusing on home service?" he asked, wanting clear confirmation. "Absolutely," confirmed Mr. Thompson. "In fact, we're thinking of investing even more in the business. How about expanding to other towns in the region?" The offer was tempting, but Tyler had learned to be cautious about rapid expansions. "Let's grow gradually," he suggested, "one town at a time, making sure we can maintain service quality." The partners agreed with Tyler's prudent approach. In the following months, the business became the go-to for automotive home service in the area. Tyler finally felt professionally fulfilled. He had built a successful business while staying true to his values. More importantly, he now had financial stability to care for Luna and the kittens without worry. But life had one last surprise in store for Tyler, a surprise that would test his ability to handle the unexpected once again. One Saturday morning, as Tyler organized tools in the garage, he heard Luna meowing insistently in the backyard. Her tone was different than usual, more urgent and worried. He went out to see what was happening and found Luna in front of a bush, meowing at something hidden in the leaves. "What is it, Luna?" he asked, stepping closer. When he looked where Luna was meowing, Tyler spotted another cat. It was an orphaned kitten, even smaller than Sunstar and Comet had been when he found them in the car engine. The little one was clearly abandoned, thin and shivering from the cold. Its eyes were watery and it could barely stand. "Where did you come from, little one?" Tyler murmured, carefully reaching out. The kitten didn't run. It was too weak to be afraid. Tyler gently picked it up and brought it inside. Luna followed, clearly concerned for the kitten, as if her maternal instincts had been reactivated by the helpless little one. Tyler examined the tiny creature. It was malnourished, dehydrated and likely sick. It needed immediate veterinary care. "Looks like we have another emergency," he told Luna, who positioned herself beside the orphaned kitten as if to protect it. Tyler immediately called Dr. Williams and explained the situation. "Bring him in right away," the vet instructed. "From your description, he's in critical condition." At the clinic, Dr. Williams confirmed Tyler's fears. The kitten was severely malnourished and had a respiratory infection. "He's been abandoned for days," the vet diagnosed. "A few more hours, and it would have been too late." "Will he be okay?" Tyler asked, worried. "With intensive care, yes," Dr. Williams replied. "But he'll need medication, special food, and lots of love in the coming days." Tyler didn't hesitate. "Do whatever's necessary," he said. "I'll take care of him." Dr. Williams smiled. "I figured you'd say that," he remarked. "You have a big heart for animals in need." The treatment for the new kitten, whom Tyler named Meteor to keep the celestial theme, would be more complex than the others. He needed feeding every 3 hours, medication twice a day, and constant monitoring. Tyler adjusted his routine to accommodate Meteor's needs. He worked half-days, came home at lunch to administer medicine and food, and spent evenings providing intensive care. Luna proved to be a crucial ally in the little one's recovery. She adopted Meteor as if he were a fifth kitten, helping to keep him warm and even trying to nurse him when possible. "You're amazing, Luna," Tyler would say, watching the cat care for the orphaned kitten. "Your heart is even bigger than mine." Sun, Star, and Comet also quickly accepted the new family member. They took turns staying close to Meteor, offering warmth and companionship during his recovery. After 2 weeks of intensive care, Meteor finally began showing signs of improvement. He gained weight, his respiratory infection cleared up, and he started playing with the other cats. "Look at that," Tyler said to Dr. Williams during a follow-up visit. "He's almost the same size as the others were when I found them." "Tyler, you've done an exceptional job," praised the vet. "Meteor was very lucky to have been found by you." "Actually, it was Luna who found him," Tyler corrected. "She was the one who drew my attention to the little guy." Dr. Williams observed the interaction between Luna and Meteor and smiled. "Seems like you've got a family of expert rescuers," he remarked. Tyler laughed, but the vet's comment made him think. In less than a year, he had rescued 4 cats in emergency situations. Maybe it wasn't just a coincidence. "Dr. Williams, do you think I should consider getting more formally involved in animal rescue?" he asked. "How so?" questioned the vet. "Well, it seems I have a knack for caring for animals in distress," Tyler explained. "Maybe I could help others beyond just my own." Dr. Williams grew thoughtful for a moment. "Tyler, now that you mention it, I always get calls from people who find abandoned animals," he said. "Most don't know what to do and end up bringing them here, but I can't always accommodate every case." "What if I could help with some of those cases?" Tyler suggested. "That would be fantastic," Dr. Williams replied enthusiastically. "You've got the experience, the right space, and most importantly, the calling for it." The conversation planted a seed in Tyler's mind. Maybe his experience with Luna and the kittens wasn't just a coincidence, but the start of something bigger. That night, Tyler talked to his cats about the possibility of helping other animals in need. "What do you all think?" he asked, sitting on the floor surrounded by the 5 cats. "Could we help other little ones like Meteor?" Luna walked over and rubbed against his legs, as if approving the idea. The other cats also seemed receptive to the presence of new family members. "All right, then," Tyler decided. "Let's see what fate brings us." 2 weeks later, Dr. Williams called with the first case. "Tyler, there's someone here who found 2 abandoned kittens in a cardboard box," he explained. "Could you take a look?" Tyler didn't hesitate. "Of course, Dr. Williams. I'll be right there." The 2 kittens were in a similar state to how Meteor had arrived, malnourished, scared, and in need of special care. Tyler took them home and began the same care routine he'd used for Meteor. Once again, Luna proved to be an exemplary foster mother, helping Tyler care for the new kittens, the house filled with tiny meows and feline playfulness. "Our home is turning into a cat orphanage," Tyler remarked, watching 7 cats playing in the yard. But far from feeling like a problem, Tyler found deep satisfaction in helping animals in need. It was as if he'd found a greater purpose in life. The following months, more cases came his way. Injured cats, orphaned kittens, abandoned senior pets. Tyler built a reputation in the area as someone always willing to help. His backyard was gradually adapted to accommodate more animals. He built individual shelters, play areas, and even a small infirmary for cases needing special care. "Tyler, you should formalize this," suggested Dr. Williams during one of his regular visits. "You could create a small rescue organization." "I don't know, Doctor," Tyler hesitated. "I don't want to turn this into something too official. I like the flexibility of helping as situations arise." "I understand your point," said Dr. Williams, "but a formal organization could receive donations, partnerships with pet stores, community support. You could help so many more animals." The suggestion stayed on Tyler's mind for weeks. He saw the logic in the proposal, but also feared that formalizing might add bureaucracy to something that worked well spontaneously. The decision came when Tyler faced his most challenging case yet. A litter of 6 puppies had been found in an abandoned construction site. The mother had passed, and the puppies needed round-the-clock care. Tyler, this case will require resources I don't have here at the clinic, Dr. Williams explained. An incubator, special milk, bottles, expensive medications. It's going to cost a lot of money. Tyler looked at the 6 tiny animals in critical condition and knew he couldn't abandon them. Do whatever's necessary, doctor, he said. I'll figure out how to pay. But when he received the estimate for the required care, Tyler realized covering the costs alone would be impossible. It would take over $3,000 just for the first few days. That's when he remembered Dr. Williams' suggestion about formalizing the rescue work. Doctor, about that idea for a formal organization, Tyler said. How would I even start? Dr. Williams was thrilled by Tyler's change of heart. It's simpler than you think, he explained. We can start by creating a social media page, sharing your story, and asking the community for help. Then we'll look into legal formalities. Tyler agreed, and that same day Dr. Williams helped him create a page called Luna Rescue, named after the cat who had started it all. They posted the story of how everything began, with photos of Luna and the kittens in the car engine, the growing feline family, and the current rescue work. The last post showed the 6 orphaned puppies and explained the urgent need for financial help. The community's response was overwhelming. Within 24 hours, the page had hundreds of likes, dozens of shares, and most importantly, enough donations to cover all the orphaned puppies' costs. Tyler, look at this, Dr. Williams said, showing the flood of supportive messages on the page. People really want to help. Tyler was moved reading the comments. People offered food, medicine, toys, even volunteer work. I never imagined so many would be willing to help, he remarked. It's because you're doing something genuine, Dr. Williams explained. People recognize true commitment to a cause. With the community's support, Tyler saved all 6 orphaned puppies. They fully recovered and were adopted by carefully selected families with Dr. Williams' help. The success of the case inspired Tyler to officially expand the rescue work. He formalized Luna Rescue as a non-profit, secured partnerships with local pet stores, and established a volunteer network. Luna, look what you started, Tyler said one evening, stroking the cat as he watched over 15 rescued cats playing in the expanded backyard. Luna purred as if understanding her role in the story. Her 3 original kittens, Sun, Star, and Comet, were now grown cats, helping Tyler welcome and socialize new rescues. Meteor had become the most affectionate cat of all, always the first to befriend newcomers, as if remembering what it was like to be a needy orphaned kitten. A year after starting Luna Rescue, Tyler had helped over 50 animals. Some were adopted, others became permanent residents of his backyard, and a few special cases remained under his care indefinitely. His mobile mechanic business continued to thrive, providing the financial stability needed to sustain the rescue work. Mike had become an enthusiastic supporter of the cause, often helping with animal transportation and minor repairs to the facilities. Tyler, you've built something amazing here, Mike remarked during a visit. When you found Luna in that engine, did you ever imagine it would lead to all this? Tyler looked around the backyard, seeing dozens of healthy, happy cats, and smiled. Never in my wildest dreams, he admitted. But now I can't imagine my life any other way. Mrs. Jenkins, who had become one of Luna Rescue's main supporters, visited regularly to check on the project's progress. Tyler, you turned a chance discovery into a true-life mission, she observed. Luna must be so proud. Luna inspires me every day, Tyler replied. She taught me that sometimes the best things in life come when we least expect them. Dr. Williams also became a key partner, offering discounted veterinary care for rescue cases and helping Tyler establish care protocols for different situations. Tyler, in 2 years you've become one of the best animal caregivers I know, the vet praised. You have a natural talent for this. I learned from the best teacher, Tyler answered, pointing to Luna, who was showing a newly rescued kitten how to use the litter box. That evening, Tyler sat in his backyard, surrounded by over 20 cats in various stages of recovery and adjustment. The scene was both chaotic and harmoniously organized. Luna approached as she did every night and climbed into his lap. Even with so many other cats around, she kept her special place as the first and most important. "Thank you, Luna," Tyler whispered, stroking her soft fur, "for choosing me that day, for trusting me, for changing my life forever." Tyler reflected on the journey that had begun with a simple meow from a car engine. From a lonely mechanic worried only about his next job, he had become someone who made a difference in the lives of dozens of animals in need. His business partners had become strong supporters of Luna Rescue, even making regular donations and recommending the organization to their contacts. "You've taught us that success isn't just about money," Mr. Thompson had said recently. "It's about making a difference in the world." His relationship with Rebecca had also improved. After settling the house issue, they had reconnected, and she occasionally visited Tyler to meet the rescued cats. "I never thought I'd see my brother surrounded by so many cats," she teased. "But it's clear you've found your calling." Tyler had become a well-known figure in the local community. Children stopped by his house to see the cats, neighbors brought injured animals they found on the street, and even other towns began reaching out to Luna Rescue for special cases. But Tyler always kept the focus on the personal, local aspect of the work. Each animal was treated individually, each case given special attention, and he never let the organization's growth compromise the quality of care. "Let's always remember why we started this," he would tell the volunteers. "Every cat here is a Luna, a sun, a star, a comet, or a meteor. Each one has their own story and deserves our best care." One Sunday afternoon, while organizing medication for the cats needing special attention, Tyler Mitchell got a call from Dr. Williams. "Tyler, there's a situation here that might interest you," said the vet. A gentleman brought in a cat that was found inside a car engine. Tyler smiled at the familiar story. "Just like Luna?" he asked. "Exactly the same," confirmed Dr. Williams. "A pregnant cat who sought shelter in a car engine. The difference is this time she wasn't in labor yet, but she's very close." "Should I take her home?" Tyler offered. "Actually, I was thinking you could talk to the man who brought her in," suggested Dr. Williams. "He seems very interested in caring for the cat but has no experience. I thought you could guide him." Tyler was intrigued. It would be the first time someone wanted to take direct responsibility for a rescue, following in his footsteps. "Of course, Doctor. I'll come talk to him." At the clinic, Tyler met Mr. Anderson, a 50-year-old man who had found the pregnant cat in his car engine that morning. "Dr. Williams told me you went through the same situation," said Mr. Anderson. "How was your experience?" Tyler shared the whole story, from the moment he first heard Luna's meow to the growth of Luna Rescue. Mr. Anderson listened intently, fascinated by the journey. "Do you think I could take care of her?" he asked. "I've never had pets, but when I saw her in the engine, I couldn't just hand her over to anyone." Mr. Anderson, caring. "For a pregnant cat is a lot of work, but incredibly rewarding," Tyler replied honestly. "If you're willing to put in the effort, I can help you with everything you need to know. I'd be very grateful," said Mr. Anderson. Tyler spent the next 2 hours teaching Mr. Anderson about caring for pregnant cats, preparing for birth, kitten care, and all the lessons he'd learned from Luna. "What if something goes wrong?" Mr. Anderson asked, worried. "You call me or Dr. Williams anytime," Tyler reassured him. "I'll leave you my number, and you can reach out whenever you need." Mr. Anderson took the cat home with a supply kit Tyler helped put together. He promised to stay in touch and accept all the guidance he needed. "Tyler, you've just made your first disciple," Dr. Williams joked after Mr. Anderson left. "I hope it works out," said Tyler. "It'd be nice to know others can follow the same path." A week later, Mr. Anderson called with exciting news. "Tyler, she had the kittens," he announced, thrilled. 5 beautiful, healthy little ones. "Congratulations, Mr. Anderson," Tyler replied, feeling the same joy he'd experienced when Luna had her litter. "How's it going?" "Amazing and terrifying at the same time," Mr. Anderson admitted, laughing. "But I'm loving every minute. Princess, as I decided to call her, is an exemplary mother. In the following days, Tyler guided Mr. Anderson through all the early challenges of caring for newborn kittens. It was like reliving his own experience, but this time as a mentor. "You have incredible patience for teaching," Mr. Anderson remarked during one of their daily calls. "It must be a natural gift. I learned firsthand that caring for animals is something you pick up by doing, but it's always good to have someone to guide you," Tyler replied. 2 months later, all of Princess's kittens were healthy, and Mr. Anderson had become a capable and devoted caregiver. He decided to keep 2 kittens and found loving homes for the other 3. "Tyler, I want to do something to repay you for all your help," said Mr. Anderson during a visit to Luna Rescue. "How about if I became a regular volunteer here?" "That would be fantastic," replied Tyler. "We always need experienced people to help with new cases." Mr. Anderson became one of the most dedicated volunteers at Luna Rescue, specializing in guiding others who found animals in similar situations. "It's amazing how history repeats itself," observed Dr. Williams. "People find cats in engines. You guide them, they become caregivers and then volunteers. It's a perfect cycle." "That's what Luna started," said Tyler, watching the original cat sleeping peacefully in the sun. A cycle of care and compassion. 3 years after finding Luna in the car engine, Tyler had established a network of volunteer caregivers, a recognized rescue organization in the region, and a thriving business that supported it all. But more important than any external achievement, he had found his true calling and purpose in life. Each day brought new challenges and joys related to caring for animals in need. "Luna, did you know what you were doing when you chose my car to have your kittens?" Tyler asked one night, stroking the cat who had changed his life forever. Luna purred and snuggled closer into his lap, as she always did when Tyler spoke to her. Her 3 original kittens, now grown cats, gathered around for the nightly cuddle, session that had become a tradition in the house. Son had developed a habit of sleeping in the office, where Tyler handled the administration of Luna Rescue. Star preferred the backyard, supervising the newer cats and making sure everyone felt welcome. Comet remained the most affectionate, always seeking Tyler's lap for afternoon naps. Meteor, the 5th member of the original family, had become the official welcome cat, always the first to greet new rescues and help them adjust. "You 5 are the foundation of all this," Tyler said, looking at his special cats. "Without you, none of this would exist." That night, Tyler reflected on everything he had achieved since that afternoon when he first heard Luna's meow. He had his own home, a thriving business, a meaningful life mission, and a feline family that gave him unconditional love every day. Most importantly, he had discovered that his greatest joy came from helping other living beings. Every rescued animal represented a victory against abandonment and suffering. "Thank you for everything, Luna," Tyler whispered before falling asleep. "For teaching me that sometimes the best things in life come when we least expect them, and that caring for others is the best way to find purpose." Luna purred one last time before settling down to sleep, as if to say everything had happened exactly as it should. The next day, Tyler received a call that made him smile at life's perfect symmetry. It was a woman who had found an orphaned kitten in a car engine. "Could you help me?" she asked. "I don't know what to do, but I can't abandon this little one." "Of course," Tyler replied, already preparing for another rescue journey. "I'll come teach you everything you need to know." As he headed out for another rescue, Tyler thought about how life had come full circle. From someone who had to learn on his own how to care for rescued cats, he had become the person others turned to for guidance. "The cycle continues," he murmured, smiling as he drove, "and Luna would be proud." The end of the story. Now tell us what you thought of the story and where you're reading from. If you have something to share with us, leave your sincere thoughts in the comments. Do you think Tyler made the right decision by taking care of Luna and her puppies? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to leave your like and, most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other heartwarming stories like this one.